service. They still exist here. Bill Martinez, live.
Hey, welcome back. 14 minutes before the top of the hour. As you can gather, what this radio show has always been about. It's about driving solutions. We go out of our way to pursue the truth no matter where it leads. And I have to say, we have to go out of our way these days. It's not commonsensical anymore. The truth has been hidden. We've exchanged the truth for a lie. We get confused now. You got Merriam-Webster. Are you ready for this, Richard? They are redefining racism. That racism can only be considered as a white problem. It's not considered as a human issue. It is now, according to Merriam-Webster, it's the white people's fault. This is what we come down to.
Noah Webster's rolling over in his grave.
Exactly.
And it's I guess Miriam had her way, but it's yes.
Well, and think about Noah Webster for just a moment, because you mentioned him totally by name. You know, what was his ambition when he started out, when he wrote the dictionary? What was his drive and understanding and passion about why he was motivated to give us the dictionary?
He wanted people to have common language. It's a simple. He wanted people to have an understanding of what words mean.
Exactly.
And so we can communicate. Because when we don't agree with what words mean, we can't communicate. We're speaking a foreign language to one another, and that's what we're. And so when we say truth, the others people when they hear the word truth, they don't necessarily hear the same word as you and I are speaking.
Right.
And because if you don't believe in absolutes, you don't believe that there's absolute truth and everything else, then truth is fungible. Truth is whatever you happen to expose to your reality. You can redefine truth based upon your experiences rather than having an absolute plumb line of truth.
Exactly.
And people who don't have that absolute plumb line of truth have no capacity to judge things based upon anything other than kind of the rolling seas of emotion that happen to be flowing through them. So a simple word like truth suddenly becomes very difficult. And this is not new. When Jesus was talking to Pontius Pilate,
yes,
and Jesus told Pontius Pilate that he was the truth, and Pontius Pilate replied, in words that could have been spoken by a secular humanist today, what is truth? Que es veritas.
Right.
And in doing that, he basically said, truth is whatever I say truth is because I've got the power of the sword, or here in modern times with communism, the power of the gun. And as a result, I define what truth is rather than God defining what truth is. That's the singular difference that makes us have this debate about what words mean, because if we can't agree on what the word truth means, everything else is up for grabs. Right. And it's not new. Jesus had it happen to him, standing there being sentenced in front of the crowd. He had that happen to him, and so we should not be surprised that Satan would use the same trick today.
Exactly. And, Rick, you could say that that very essential is one of the founding pillars of our U.S. Constitution. You remove that part of the structure and foundation out from underneath the U.S. Constitution, and it begins to implode on itself. And this is what we're seeing right now before our eyes, where you got these young kids coming out of colleges today, our universities, that they've been indoctrinated. And they've been moved away from the truth. They've bought into this woke society narrative that says truth is relative. I'll tell you what, you don't have to pay me $250,000. I'm not going to give you a degree for it, but let me give you something much more valuable. And that is that they lied to you. You bought into a lie. And the sooner you reconcile that, the happier you're going to be. And, what we all want at the end of the day, we want this sense of productivity, Richard. We want to feel like we're contributing. Regardless of race, color, creed, at the end of the day, we want to know, hey, we have offered society something and have contributed to society, to our families, to our communities, something that leaves it better than in the manner in which we found it.
I think that is, we all have, it's part of the giant hole in our heart that Wesley describes,
Yes.
In terms of us wanting to have that filled. And, when God fills it, we have God's purpose. But but everybody has that hole, and they attempt to fill it through various different means. But, when we talk about truth and we talk about college, there's some simple things. Somebody who goes and becomes an electrician, doesn't go to college, knows that if they touch the black wire, they're going to die. Okay, that's absolute truth. Okay, that is truth. Somebody who goes and they become a plumber knows lefty loosey, righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Right.
They know that if they turn it the wrong way, it's not going to get their results. That's absolute truth. That is just the way it's set up. We know that if we drive on the wrong side of the road, we're going to have a head-on collision because that's the way the system's set up. So there are certain things that if you have not been to our university systems, you understand truth because there is a reality in your world that is actual, tangible reality.
Exactly.
Electricity will kill you if you touch the wrong wire in the wrong way. That's true. So they learn not to do that. In college, what you learn is that all the wires are equal. And it doesn't matter which wire you touch or how you put them together. Somehow, since all the wires are equal, they have to be all treated equally. Well, no, the wires are not equal because one of those wires will kill you.
Exactly.
And they don't understand that some of the wires they're touching, related to the secular humanist idea that we have, that all ideas are equal, that all truths are equal, is actually touching the black wire, and it is deadly.
Yeah. Talk about reinventing the wheel, right? All for the sake of, I don't know, the theoretical. They want to return, avoid historical significance, empirical evidence. Let's go back into theory where all things are relative and possible. And why should we go and recreate the mistakes of previous generations just to say that we did? And waste so much time and resources as opposed to taking what we know right now to be empirical and make it better and more dramatic as a result of investing our resources more constructively. But no, for the sake of theory, for the sake of the educated elite, we're going to recreate the wheel once again and waste our time. And meanwhile, you're going to have people who've bought into that, that doctrine and realize what a waste. What a waste.
People always ask, well, what can we do about it?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, the single most important thing you can do is elect a governor who's going to take control of your university system, elect state legislators who will take control of the university system and the state local education systems, elect school board members who are going to be fighting for actual information to be fed into kids, as opposed to the idea that anything that you can touch the black wire. Okay. Right. That's a really, really important, it's probably the most important thing we can do. And I'm talking now long term. We've got short term problems. Long term problem is we can't allow another generation, 2 generations to be created along the lines of this past one, because if we give up and continue to believe the lie that the academics have told us, that politicians shouldn't be involved in academics and curriculum, that they should leave it to the academics. What we've effectively done is we've said the people shouldn't be involved in the training of the minds of our children, and because those represent you, the people. And so we have to take back the education system, and we have to take it back in first of all, in those states where you have Republicans and kind of a full Republican slate, and in other states we need to change the makeup of the state legislature and the governorship, so we can in fact once again have schools which teach people to read, write, do arithmetic, and think in a critical thinking
way. Exactly. It has
so
to
they
be
can understand and use logic.
Right, exactly. Well, there is enough evidence out here. I mean, we're seeing it on full display, and we're seeing where the big problems right now, in a very binary sort of way, and result is that those democratic policies have destroyed local communities. And I say that we have to hold everybody accountable. Just because they have an R or a D in front of their name, regardless, you still need to know what your North Star is. What is the standard? What do we need? How do we need to hold them accountable? And first of all, it starts with us individually saying that we're interested, we're serious enough about it, not interested in a casual sense, but that we're vested in the future of our country. We're vested in the future of our kids, that we are going to fight for that which is right on their behalf, to make sure that they're properly educated. I mean, I go back, we're talking, the turn of, in the 1800s, before the American school system was taken over by progressives, there was a little book, I don't know, about 75 pages was all it was. Readers. The New England right. Reader, right? And the kids that were being turned out with that 75-page little booklet that were educated in public schools at that time, their level of success compared to today is not even close. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells you that what we're doing is not working. If parents, let me just put it in very simple terms, if your kid gets sick and is gradually becoming more and more sick, you're going to fight like crazy to get everything you can to have your kid be well. Right. Well, we have, as in Hamlet, it's used from Polonius. We essentially have poison being poured into our children's ears, right? And they're being destroyed because we are not sitting there and cutting off the poison. There's no yellow line, no room for anybody to be on the yellow line in the middle of the road on this. Southern saying is only two things in the middle of the road are yellow lines and dead skunks.
Exactly.
And so the dead skunks, we need to get them out and replace them with people who are willing to fight for our country.
Rick, real quick, website, real fast.
GetLiberty.org, GetLiberty.org.
Thank you, Richard Manning.
Oh, so you're wearing a mask every day now? Where are you getting